Hey everybody, video for you today is on a profit maximization strategy for selling your sports cards on eBay. Now, I want to be clear, I say a profit maximization strategy and not the profit maximization strategy because, hey, there are a lot out there and this is just one of them. So I always like to think it's good to be versatile as a seller and to have different tools in your toolboxes for how to approach different situations. So I don't want to be that guy who says this is absolutely the way you should go about selling your cards on eBay, but this is one thing to consider. And the primary themes might include shedding stale inventory or adding value to stale inventory, as well as using data that you've already entered to make your life easier. So to begin, I'm going to walk through some of the assumptions that lead me to use this strategy for my own store, and then I'm going to demo some software that can help enable this strategy to actually play out for you. So, to begin, the first assumption is that single cards are going to sell at a higher unit price compared to cards in a lot. And I don't have raw big data to back all these assumptions up, but hey, that's why they're assumptions. So just bear with me and follow along. But the example here is that if I have, let's say, 10 Boston Red Sox Mookie Betts cards, well, if I end up selling those individually, they're going to sell at a higher price point per card than if I would group those into 10 cards and sell it as a lot. And so the key takeaway here, if this was the only truth out there, is hey, we should list everything as singles, right? I mean, if we're going to sell at a higher unit price per single as opposed to lots, well, heck, I'm going to list absolutely everything as singles and I'm going to rake in the cash. Well, not so fast. The second assumption here is that lots are going to sell faster than single cards. And so while assumption one might dictate just listing singles to your store, if you had infinite time over the course of all of time, you will maximize profit by selling all this. You have to consider sell-through rate and turnaround time, and it is a truth that I assume that lots sell faster than single cards. So you can kind of see the trade-off here. Assumption one, you're going to get higher dollars. Assumption two, you're going to sell things quicker and you're going to get a quicker return on your initial investment from sourcing the cards. And so at this point, a lot of sellers may make the decision to just do lots or to just do singles or to do some combination of both based on what they source. And I would say that that is a good strategy. It's good to have balance in what you list. And say you purchase a bunch of bulk cards, maybe you will pull out the best ones, sell those as singles, and then group all of the commons or stuff that isn't worth as much into big lots. And that's a good way to do things. But my strategy today to maximize profit that I'll be talking about is why don't we list these cards as singles for some amount of time? We can leave that up to ourselves. And then after that amount of time, some have sold at this point, but for the rest, let's group that remaining inventory into lots. And at this point, you can kind of get the highest price point for the cards that do sell, and predictably, not everything will sell. So after some amount of time, maybe your listing algorithm has been buried behind everything else and no one's seen your listing, or maybe you've accumulated a bunch of cards of the same player or the same team or the same features, and now we can take that, group it into lots, and then give it new life. We can have a better chance at a sale. Sounds easy, but why wouldn't you do this? Well, rework is demoralizing. And so you think if you're listing, let's say, 100 cards, you're going to have to scan or take pictures of those. You're going to have to sort those. You're going to have to list them and capture all the card details, whether that be you typing them into your listings or using some nifty whiz-bang software to read the image and tell you what card it is. And that is demoralizing to do that again. And so to think about this strategy, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to pick everything out, scan it, list it one more time, but this time in a lot format rather than singles. And then the other annoying thing is the inventory management is going to get wacky, right? So you have them listed as singles. And let's stick to that 100 card example, but maybe after 2 months, 20 cards have sold and you have 80 remaining cards. Well, for the cards that haven't sold yet, to do this strategy, you're going to have to go into your eBay store and reduce the quantities or in the listings for those 80 active cards that haven't sold. Plus, if you sorted these in different boxes or different places in your card room, that's going to get weird as well. So that's really annoying. And finally, with all the stuff talked about in the first 2 bullet points, that's just a lot of steps. And so you're just not going to do this. You're probably just going to let them sit as singles, or maybe once a year you're going to just totally go to town on your eBay store and take everything down and relist and go through that rework, maybe just once a year or something like that. But what I'm going to propose today is, what if we could reuse the data that we've already entered some amount of time ago when we first listed the singles? That could really make our life a lot easier and really help, because we wouldn't have to sort again, we wouldn't have to scan again, and as far as the listing details go, we could just take all of the work, all that text and information that we put in the first time, and recompile it into a lot format. And then as far as inventory management, well, if you have a good system, you already know where your cards are. So that's good from the physical side. But then on the digital side, you can utilize eBay's revision template to simply reduce the quantities for those listings that are still up as singles. And if all of this stuff is combined into a user interface, then we might have hope at accomplishing this profit maximization strategy in less of a painful manner than if we did this by, I'll say, conventional methods. So that's the strategy. I've been doing this on my store, and because I was doing it kind of by hand, I decided to make a little bit of an interface, kind of a web-based application to help me go about this. And so that is where we will jump to here. I call it Hits Lister, kind of fun. But what you're looking at here is all of my inventory that is currently active on eBay. And so this table here, right now I have nothing selected, so it's just showing absolutely everything that is currently available on my store. And so you can see here's kind of the higher priced things on my store. And then as far as available quantity goes, plenty of stuff to look at here. One note, you may see the zeros in this available quantity. Well, I do have the setting for my eBay store to allow listings to stay active kind of in the background on the store with zero quantity, which allows you to restock or decide what to do with it. And so that is a picture of my active eBay listings. And you can just see here, this is sorted by name, but hey, we got 2 AJ Burnett's, 2 AJ Pierzynski's, and you can kind of see some natural groupings of what might make good lots. 4 Aaron Harang cards right here, and I do use the SKU field quite a bit, the custom label. This actually shows when I acquired or purchased the card. So for instance, this Aaron Harang card I purchased September 22nd, 2024, and this might give me a feel for how to locate what is considered stale inventory. So in any case, I have additional filters here. For instance, I checked this box for team, Albuquerque Isotopes, the Rockies AAA team, and it's going to show me what is in my eBay store that is tagged with the Isotopes. And so you can see here, solid number of cards here. This might be one consideration to group into a lot. It's been sitting there for a while, since June. And while a few of these I know for a fact have sold, these have not. So in any case, the example I'll use today is JD Martinez. I have observed that I have quite a few JD Martinez cards on my shop that have not sold over the time that I've had them. And so you can see here we got a blue stars, a bunch of golds. We got a rookie card as well. Well, let's go ahead and just narrow that down to the golds. And so you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And 2 of them are Tigers, 4 of them are Red Sox. So that's kind of fun. I'm going to go ahead and group these together. And let's go ahead and make a JD Martinez lot of these 4 Red Sox cards, these golds. And in the future, I'm going to automate this, but for now, let me just type in real quickly parallel 20XX. They're all numbered. What else could we put into this title? Topps Gold Lot 4 parallel cards, Boston Red Sox. So this little counter here shows me how close I am to the maximum for the character limit on eBay. And like I said, in the future, I'll automate this based on all of the information. But for now, it's okay that I type all this in. I'm going to reassign the SKU. I'm going to call it Gold, which is my project for Topps Golds. And heck, what should I price this at? Let's go ahead and get aggressive and try to charge $4.99 for these 4 cards. And you can see here, the 4 that I've selected, these add up to well more than $4.99. And so that's tapping into that first assumption here, that single cards, if they sell, are going to sell at a higher unit price compared to cards in a lot. But the thought here is that a potential JD Martinez fan or buyer is going to be more compelled to buy a lot of 4 of these instead of 4 singles. And so this price is going to be lower than the total of what they're listed at as singles, but I'll be able to ship these together, and it should help give this a better chance at a sale. It should basically refresh this stale inventory. It's the same 4 physical cards, a different way to go about listing them. So I'm going to pick this option, and I'm going to ask for the upload CSV in the revision template. And so a quick note, the eBay reports uploads tab is where we're going to list upload 2 different comma separated value CSV files. The first one we're going to do is to revise the quantities of these 4 cards. So you can see I have them listed with 1 as the available quantity. Well, the first action I'm going to do on this upload reports tab is I'm going to reduce these to 0. That way I'm not double listing cards and I am effectively controlling my inventory management. And then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to upload that lot listing to our eBay store. So that's kind of the 2-step process. And so I'm going to select yes here. I don't care about locally saving the images. And I'm going to go ahead and click Create Photos. And you can see this little thing here. It's saying updating. Well, that means the code is working in the background to do a few things. And it will take probably a couple of minutes here. And the reason for that is I haven't tried to optimize the time to make this happen. But you got to keep in mind, this action is way quicker than if I were to manually go into each of those listings, reduce the quantity by 1, and then relist it, rescan, take my pictures, put in all the information, and redo that. So even though this is a little slower than I would like on the scale of a couple of minutes, hey, there we go. Those images showed up nicely. And if this isn't obvious, I didn't just take these scans. These scans have been active on my eBay store tied to these 4 listings for months, since August 15th, April 16th. So plenty of time, and I already did this work a long time ago, so I just had to wait a couple of minutes. These are still sitting in my gold Red Sox stack, which is how I group these cards. So if someone did buy this, I would just go into my gold Red Sox stack, dig these 4 out, print a shipping label, and be on my merry way. So this is just a view, and just to show you what these images look like. This is pretty cool, but this is how the image actually will display on my new listing. Now, I haven't done anything on the eBay side yet, right? This is just showing me what that image is. Now, in the background, it actually pushed these images to an AWS database, and that's where I host my images that can be publicly accessible by eBay when I put my listings up. That way it can read the pictures from a third-party site, AWS bucket tied to me, instead of from my local computer. And so these are just rendering here in my web browser, but these images have been saved elsewhere. So now let's jump to the eBay side. And at this point, I'm going to upload my revision template first. And so you can see this printed out 2 minutes ago. And the first thing I'm going to do, actually, before I do this, let me just fact check to make sure everything's working. Now, I wouldn't do this recurring when I run this program in the future, right? But for now, it's good to do a quick sanity check because this is still pretty new and you might want to be overconfident in your inventory management so that you don't double list things. And I'm going to narrow this down further. JD Martinez, Red Sox Gold. And so you can see the 4 that I chose are the 2 from 2019, boom, boom, 1 from 2020, and 1 from 2021. And it looks like back in the day I actually listed 2 of these, and that was kind of by mistake. I guess I purchased 1 in May and 1 in August, but it only showed me 1 of them on this tab, which is a good thing, right? In that way, what this should happen in this example is 1 of these quantities should go down to 0 and 1 should stay at 1 for this 2020 version. So let's go ahead, choose our revision template. This is an eBay standard template that you can download, and I've just written some computer code in the background to automate all of this for me for the selected rows on that sheet. And so you can see this is currently in process. Now it says completed. So let's go ahead and go back here. We should see 4 at 0 and 1 at 1 for the available quantity. And oh, yes, awesome. So you can see here, these are exactly the 4 cards that are going into my lot listing. They'd previously been listed as singles. So these quantities have dropped to 0. And as I was just discussing, I had listed this second kind of identical but different serial number card at a different point, and this listing is going to stay active. So that's great news. We still need to upload our lot to eBay. And so at this point, I'm going to go again to the upload template on the reports tab. I'm going to click upload, pick my comma separated value, and it looks like I need to refresh for whatever reason, but go ahead. I should mention, if you're unfamiliar with the bulk upload report, you really need to make it your friend. It's awesome. It's such a game changer. So I have a bunch of other videos talking about this. This is my primary way to list things on eBay. And so just check those out if you're curious. But I'm going to also hopefully have my mobile screen capture up to show you what's happening in the background. But you can see here, your upload is completed. And if we're lucky, we're going to have all of the item details as well as the pictures for our listing just as we like them. So this is awesome. On the desktop view, I'm going to go ahead, refresh my search on JD Martinez Gold. But this is great news. Really exciting here. So you can see all of these item details, like the team, the features, the set, language, etc. Looks like there's a bug on season. You can see there. That's interesting. So I'll fix that in the code, as no one would ever search for 2019.0, but that's an easy fix. But the point remains, this was the input. This is all I had to click and type in. So I did my query. I found the cards that I wanted to put in to the lot. I typed out my title. Again, that'll be automated in the future. Put my SKU, price, fixed price, GTC, and this is what it spit out. So it's got those images, beautiful. It's also got my marketing image that I add to the end of all of my listings these days. So does that, no questions asked, hands off. And you can see it applied all of my policies correctly. So right now I just have this configured for eBay standard envelope and my default policies for returns and shipping and payments, but that is also configurable with a little bit more development. And all of this stuff carried over from these original listings. So that's amazing because I didn't have to type any of this out again, and I was able to remove the listings as singles for these 4 cards and then just take all of that information that I had put in months and months ago, and at very little added work. There is a little bit, but really not too much. I could generate all of this information tied to the lot listing. So very, very cool. Same thing with the description. You can see this is my boilerplate description that I have in a text file. It's HTML formatted, and I just read that in and plop it in my listing. So very powerful. I'm going to be developing this tool more in the future. As you can see, this is really just a bare bones interface, which is really, really good from a minimum viable product standpoint. I mean, why would I really trick it out beyond the bare bones just to get a functional prototype working? But plenty of ways to improve this. You can see even here, got some difference in fonts between Arial, Times New Roman, etc. And it's just not very aesthetic. But again, this is meant for myself. I'm the only user right now using Hits Lister, so I might as well just focus on function rather than fashion in how this web application looks. But I hope you enjoyed that. Of course, the best profit maximization strategy you'll get from anyone is buy low, sell high. But maybe one thing for your consideration on eBay is to sell cards as singles for a little bit, leave those up, try to maximize your unit profit per card. But then at some point, you need to go back and refresh those listings, and grouping them into lots may help you sell stuff and get some money for those pieces of cardboard. But as we discussed, this is really not practical. It is possible, of course, to do this manually and to go into your piles, pull out the cards after so many months and do that, but you're going to get tired of it, and it's going to take a lot of time, and that's where the data comes in, because you've already done the work. You've already scanned these. You've already typed your data in, and eBay possesses all that data for you. So you can just reorganize it, essentially, and plop it into the lots category and really rely on our uploads report, CSVs, to revise the quantities of those singles, drop them down, and also construct the lot listing so that you can be on your merry way and give your items a better chance to sell. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to be releasing more content this year in the vein of data and automation for your eBay store. And I'm very interested in feedback, as one of these days it could make sense to make these tools available to other sellers as well. So we'll see you next time.